Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
With the big, bold flavour of HP sauce. Because summer is too good for just salad.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Gareth Richards. You can text our show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter, at Frank on the Radio. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Let's not mess around.
Oh.
Are hovercrafts still operational on the coasts of this island?
Yes, very much so.
Are they?
Frank, yes.
How do you know?
I have just searched it on the internet.
We don't search stuff on the internet.
We're not allowed. There's a no Google rule.
I didn't know that.
Well, that's the end. What should we talk about now?
You can get a family day return for just £25.
To family day return to where?
Anywhere.
Anywhere?
No,
Anywhere.
the Isle of Wight.
What about New York?
Have you ever been to? Have you ever been on a hovercraft?
Yes, I have.
It is one of the most. It is the noisiest thing I've ever travelled on in my life. You get on it. They treat it like a flight, so they got like air steward, and they call it a flight. You know, actually.
Can I say how depressing would that be, being cabin crew on the hovercraft?
Well, I know hovering.
See the world, they say.
But hovering and flying, it's a fine line. But I mean, the skirt is always, the skirt on them. That's
what,
always,
on the cabin crew?
No, on the hovercraft, it's always in contact with the water, so it's not a flight. I can't. It moves a bit like I imagine. Do you know in Metamorphosis when the character turns into a big insect? I imagine his lower leg sections are a bit like the skirt of the.
I'm thinking the Holly Valance on the bed, the Valance.
Oh yes,
yes.
It's a black leathery thing, but anyway, it's so loud. They start it off. You cannot have a conversation on hovercraft. They say, "Right, I hope you enjoy the flight. We're now leaving for." They do. They do a safety thing. We're not on an aeroplane. Why are you pretending? They call it a flight.
They should call it a hover.
They do. They don't. So you choose. I know most people who have grown up on multiple choice. That's how we're doing the show this week. So
that's Frank's new game show. They do. They don't. With Frank Skinner.
We'll find out. 8 o'clock tonight. ITV. So
they do. They don't. With Frank Skinner.
So they say, right, enjoy the flight, and off we go. Coffee. I don't want coffee. It's incredible. So, but I'm glad they're still operational. Maybe they've quietened down as they've got. I don't imagine it's a thing they're still pouring a lot of technological research into the hovercraft.
Well, that would be a good area to work in, wouldn't it? Hovercraft technology.
When I was a kid, it was like the thing. Everybody, we talk about facts that people know, like Gary Oldman's sister is Big Mo.
Yeah.
Christopher Cockrell invented the hovercraft, and that was one of those facts that people used to tell you, even though everyone knew it, because the hovercraft was so much at the centre of our universe.
Oh, is that right?
I thought by now we'd have personal hovercrafts by which we travelled around the streets, but it didn't happen.
People have stuck with legs under the skirt.
Yeah, they are mainly. That's true. There's the what are those segways? Are they called?
The Segway. That's the one Piers Morgan.
You could wear a skirt over the top of one of those.
Yeah,
that would look pretty quite Camberwick green.
Oh, like a long Amish one. Yeah,
if you wore an elaborate ball gown and got your Segway underneath, you'd got quite a figure coming down the road.
Wouldn't you worry about the skirt getting sucked under though? Because what if? Because it's wheels.
Be terrible.
It would all look a bit Nicki Minaj, wouldn't it?
You'd just pull it right down the front.
Yes. And
this is getting quite technical, boys.
Yeah. You'd have to wear.
This is how geniuses work, Em. This is how you've got to work out the bucks.
You'd have to wear Union Jack underpants. That's what everyone in the 70s, if their trousers got ripped off, that's what they were wearing underneath. And with women, it was always stuck into the suspenders, even, whatever line of work they were in, business women, all sorts.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Frank Skinner, Emily Dean, Gareth Richards. The Frank Skinner Podcast from Absolute Radio.
So we've had hovercraft-based correspondence.
Yes, 1973 is back. This is from Duncan. He says, as a member of the Hovercraft Club of GB...
Respect.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of effort to make them quiet is going on.
It's still ongoing.
And the UK is holding the world champs, if you would like to come. I can imagine the members of the Hovercraft Club of GB use the word things like champs.
What do you think the championships? They race? They
No, it's
can't
noise
race.
reduction.
Or is it how high do you hover? I reckon it's a race of some sort.
How high do you hover? How high do... Isn't that a Bee Gees song? How high do you hover? How high do you hover?
Jane...
Like to know, but I can't hear a blooming thing over the noise. Oh, they are attractive boys. Sorry, I just had to rhyme.
Strangest thing you've ever said.
I just had to rhyme something.
What about when Frank just told a joke off air and Daisy, the producer, as he told the joke and he sat there so proud of his punchline, and Daisy, the producer, went, "What happened next?"
Yes. It's a tough life. Wasn't my joke.
Frank,
wasn't your joke. You were
it wasn't
doing
your
a
joke.
joke
We
of-
should have.
it was-
Frank, we've had some news in from Jane, Gareth.
Yes,
She
I-
says, "Hi,
She
Frank.
said Tarzan fell over. Come, send an ambulance."
The Hovercraft had better still be running, as I'm getting one from Ryde to Portsmouth shortly."
Oh.
Okay, so it's noisy, but you're only on that trip for 10 minutes, so who cares? Like life, really. It's treated as a flight because
Yes.
it gets, she said, certificated. Might be certified, I think they're under aviation regs rather than marine regs.
Yeah, but that's the odd thing about it, is everything tells you you're on a boat. And there's people talking about the flight.
She says invented and built here on the Isle of Wight, so we're quite proud of it.
Yes, well, fair enough.
Yeah.
The Isle of Flight, I call it.
What happened next?
Well, I'm going to buy one. They must be selling them off now, a lot of the originals.
What are you going to do with that?
Would it travel on land? I think they do travel on land, don't they?
Gareth,
Yes, they do travel on land. I've seen it. I remember it from Blue Peter.
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
wonder if they still have
you could get a
hovercrafts.
job cleaning at the same time.
I don't
You
like.
could vacuum on a mass scale.
I don't like the sound.
That's a lot of
you.
sucking and blowing if you're vacuuming as well as hovering.
Yeah, I know. No, but when does it blow? Oh, it blows, doesn't it?
I think it
Hovercraft.
must blow.
If it sucked, it would fill with water.
We're
and
still talking about
sink.
Hovercraft.
No.
It's 17.
No, it's okay.
2015. We're talking
Okay.
about Hovercraft for 20 minutes, Frank.
Let me tell you something that happened to me this week.
Yeah.
I was in central London, a large conurbation in the southeast of England, when a woman came up to me and said, "Can I have a photo?" And I said, "Yes, you can." "Can I have a photo?" "Yes." And she said, "My husband is mad about you." She said, she said, "I'll be honest with you." And I thought, oh God, here comes a phone. She
Like,
said,
can I give everyone a tip? Don't be honest with us.
No.
Don't be honest with Frank. Don't be honest with me. Don't be honest with Emily.
I was really happy with my husband's mad about
Yeah,
you. That's fine.
that's plenty.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets
No
worse.
need for honesty.
It gets worse.
I love it when women say that to me.
Yeah, she said.
Positively encourage it.
Isn't usually lead into quite an awkward conversation. Anyway, she said, "My husband's mad about you." She said, "But to be honest, I'm not interested in cars."
Oh my God.
And I thought, okay, have I been talking about parking too much on the radio show, or does she think I'm someone else? And then what it looked like family and friends of hers arrived, and we were having our photo done. She was doing a selfie. She points at me from about 6 inches from my face and goes, "Top Gear." So they all went, "He's not from Top Gear. What are you talking about? What are you on about? He's not from Top Gear. He's that comedian bloke." So we're standing next to a pret-a-manger.
I don't think I can actually stay in the room for this.
We're standing next to a pret-a-manger where
Why are you
people,
pronouncing it like that?
because I enjoy it, and people are quite a lot of people sitting out on tables watching this, obviously with some amusement. She turns to them, this woman, and says, "Well, who do you think he is?" And I thought, what is happening here? I have become...
To be fair, that's not the first female who's ever said that to you.
No, but It's as if I was on Through the Keyhole, but they weren't bothering with the rigmarole of my house. They just brought me out to be identified.
There is often a moment on Through the Keyhole where they do the big reveal and you go, yeah, so, yeah,
Well,
you need
exactly.
more information.
Exactly, but this was like, do you remember when David Blaine used to do that street magic? This was like street through the keyhole. So she just turns to a group and they all look, you know, I thought, God, these people, a lot of them weren't English, you know, because it was in central London.
Yeah, so how are they to know?
So anyway, she went off and as she walked away, she was clearly, right, you know, she was still like 10 feet. She was clearly deleting.
She wasn't.
She was. I thought she hasn't even kept it as an anecdote illustrator.
Oh, maybe she was just putting a filter on it or something.
Yeah.
Yes, that is possible.
Did you go into a sort of Elephant Man, I'm a human being speech?
Or if I said that, turned to the people at Pret a Manger and said, I'm not an animal. No, they wouldn't have liked that.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I had another street-based incident. Now I'm going to need your help with this one, I think, Emily. I saw what I thought was a gothic figure, a young girl, dressed all in black, and you know that, but not heavy-duty gothic. Someone who was dallying with the look.
Someone who'd maybe been out with Noel.
Someone who looked a bit like. Do you remember when Kylie went out with Michael Hutchins and she went through that period of anyway, so she was all in black, young girl, and I'm not in the habit of talking to young girls I don't know in the street, and she had boots on, like sort of Dr. Martin boots, and the shoelace was undone and was coming out about a foot, you know, straggling about.
Right.
So obviously, you know, health and safety. So I said
Tried to stamp on it.
No, I took her by the arm
and spray some Febreze at her.
and I said,
sorry for your loss.
Yeah,
but
I said you're going to break your neck on that.
You didn't say
shoelace.
that.
Yeah, as if any goth has ever been afraid of mortality.
Yeah.
But I said, and the look she gave me was
She was a goth. What were you expecting her to do?
probably thought you were the worst clairvoyant ever, who only gives bad news.
No, but wasn't it a nice thing to do?
No. I'd have found that really irritating.
I think that's
Would
nice.
you?
No.
Why is it not nice?
Because it just it implies that I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, no, anyone can fall prey to a random loosening of the foot lace.
It's like when someone comes up to me on
the
the
foot
street.
lace is all right with that. Can we do that?
Well, I imagine she had other laces. Did she have laces on her bodies?
Can I do that again, Jeff?
Bodies?
She might not have even been a goth. She was all in black and had like badly applied eyeliner. That's all the evidence I've got.
Oh, I might have just been the Mighty Boosh.
It was my second. I'd already had a goth. I did a proper goth experience. This guy come up to me and he was full on. He had like the studded face. I mean, studded, not that it was well studded. And he had like, you know, black and white, that white makeup stuff. And I mean, he looked amazing. And his girlfriend looked like more or less the same. And they really did look like they'd you know, come from Whitby.
Yeah.
And he said to me, I love that George Formby documentary you did.
Oh.
Wow.
And I said, you know, I said, when I saw you coming towards me, I knew you'd be a George Formby fan. He said, did you? I said, no. Of course I didn't. Look at you. Anyway, but the other woman was not anywhere near as friendly as him. And I tell you what, when I turned to you, Emily...
The
shoelace woman. The footlace.
Footlace.
Footlace. Don't give me such a negative face. That's what I should have done.
Did she know you were talking about her shoelace, though?
Yes,
you
I'm
didn't
sure
just say you're going to break your neck.
Oh, actually, did I say I'm going to break your neck? No, I definitely. It was what worried me. Oh well, I'll tell you what.
I've got a lot to say on this subject.
Have you?
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
No, I'll tell you what worried me about. Afterwards, because of her response being a bit, I thought maybe it's a fashion thing to have your shoelaces
your
undone.
footlace, yeah.
Because there was a time, wasn't there? There was a sort of grungy period where people wore unfastened shoelaces, and I wonder if that had crept back in.
And then you had the old bottle tops, of course, which were briefly fashionable in the Bros era.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Well, speaking of the bra, I mean, it's like if I'd gone up to someone and said, excuse me, your jeans are ripped. It's that kind of thing. Because speaking of bras, I've noticed now the ripped jeans, they're everywhere.
Well, they're in the studio right now because I've just had an incident.
Oh, have you?
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
no.
My jeans have ripped.
I told you shouldn't have done this.
That's no easy way of putting it.
But this is a fabulous moment when some jeans have actually ripped.
Genuinely ripped.
Rather than being bought as ripped jeans.
You say fabulous, you haven't seen where they've ripped.
No, I'm guessing that. Hey? Oh, can we get you maybe a discarded hovercraft skirt?
Yes, that's what I need.
Okay.
Yeah, I find it when people come up to me, and I know they mean well, but sometimes I'll have people saying, "Excuse me, but your bag's slightly open and someone could take your purse out."
Yeah.
I think, well, how do I know you're trustworthy? How do I know this isn't just a ruse so that you can thieve it?
Well, maybe they've just put some wasps in it. And they're doing that so that you zip it up and you don't get the joke until you get home. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that, but that could happen. Or a fish, maybe a big fish to rot in there.
Do you ever have people come up to you, Gareth, and give you... I'm calling these people well-wishers.
Not very often, but when I lived in Cardiff, by the train station there was a hat shop where you could buy sort of trilby hats.
Okay.
It's like an episode of Mr. Ben.
I know the sort of thing that they sell in a hat shop. Don't feel you have to itemise.
Yeah, and footlaces they do.
But
I don't know if they do footlaces.
Okay.
I decided I should get one of these hats.
Head covers. Sell a lot of those.
A head hat it was.
Okay.
And
You bought a hat?
I bought a hat. This was some time ago.
What happened to you?
No, not recently.
What kind of a hat?
It was a trilby. It was a navy blue trilby.
You bought a trilby, Frank.
Yeah, and not like
What's going on?
not a Justin Timberlake one, like a proper old school, like I was solving a mystery.
Oh, okay. Was this your film noir period?
Yeah.
Okay. I cannot picture you in a trilby.
No, it wasn't good. But what I found is that people did approach me when I was wearing the hat.
What say? Excuse me, do you know you're wearing a trilby? Excuse me, but I think mischievous schoolboys might have put a trilby on you while you were asleep on the bus.
So, if you were going to buy one, who goes to a hat shop?
Why not? Where
else
else
are you
would
gonna
you
get
go?
a trilby from?
Go to a department store. Some of the normal people go.
Oh, no, I like the idea of going to a hat shop.
Anyway.
Then I can walk in and say to the person who wants to be a milliner.
Some more material from Frank Skinner.
But what did they say?
And then what?
What did they say? These people who came up to you, what did they say about the hat?
But they didn't say anything about the hat. But they just, in a way that had never happened to me before, people felt like it was okay to approach me and ask me directions.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it bestowed some authority on you, perhaps,
Yeah.
the hat.
What, the welcoming trilby? It's a lovely pub. Have you ever been there? That is a strange. I thought that you were going to say they come up to you and said your shoelace is undone, so you'd look down and your hat had fallen off.
What, did you wear it with a Mac? Were you wearing shorts or what?
No, just normal clothes.
Just wore it with a waistcoat, like top cap. You should see how he gave directions.
Frank, Emily, and Gareth. Alan's in Edinburgh. The Frank Skinner Podcast from Absolute Radio.
Frank, we've had an email from who seems like quite a big cheese in the hovercraft world.
Oh, yeah.
Morning, Frank. Just been told you love hovercraft, and I'd like to intro myself. He says intro, so...
You love
okay.
hovercraft.
Well, I'm fascinated by
Yes.
them. I'm sort of delighted. I thought they'd gone, I'll be honest with you. I thought there was something from the past.
No, they're still going.
They're vibrant, they certainly
They've
are.
still got
They'll
it.
shake your fillings out.
I am the MD of Hover Travel. This is the man's email I'm reading
wow.
out still. And if you wanted a trip on the
you
hovers...
weren't springing that, I said that you... It's you. I'm just reeling from the Trilby hat. Turns out you're the MD of Hoverworld. Is it Hoverworld?
I think people would smell a rat if we've been talking about Hovercrafts all morning and then it turns out I run a business.
That would be a great reveal, though, at this point in the show.
Sorry, what is it the MD of?
Hover Travel.
Hover Travel, okay.
Hover Travel, all one word, block capitals.
Okay. No need to shout.
And if you wanted a trip on the hovers,
aye,
so it calls them the hovers, let me know. Get you to meet the pilots and travel up top on the flight deck.
Pilots, flight deck, you see what I mean? They've no idea it's on water.
Hover deck.
When they say up top, I bet it's not very high though, is it?
Well, it'll be great though, because there'll be a point where you can see not only the landmass of the British Isles, but also the Isle of Wight.
Oh, I'm coming with you, Frank.
I think we should all go.
Shall we go?
I don't know if we're all invited.
Oh, I will be.
Who's not invited?
What would really spoil it is if one of us was found with loads of drugs on us when we got to the Isle of Wight.
Why is everyone looking at me?
Well,
I've honestly never touched a drop.
No.
The drugs come in drops.
Okay.
And he says, also, he'll show us the new hovercraft due to be in service in the new year. So there's new ones.
See, they are, but that's what I'm amazed at. Is the technology is advancing.
Yeah.
And great to hear you like the hovers. We do
it's
too.
It's great to hear anything if you live in the hovercraft world. All you use is... You're right. Are we there yet?
I assume that's why Hover Travel is in block capitals.
Exactly.
Hover Travel! Welcome to Hover Travel! That's Neil Chapman, MD
That's
of
brilliant.
Hover. He's a doctor
Neil.
as well.
He's not.
Dr. Neil Chapman.
MD, Hover Travel. Oh, no.
No, MD, Managing Director. He's not a doctor.
No.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
They don't have hover
Be a
doctors.
waste, wouldn't it?
Hover doctors would be good because they wouldn't be picking up germs on the soles of their shoes from homes of the sick.
Could that solve the whole thing about when people get illnesses in the hospital? It could be good for hygiene if doctors hovered.
Little tip. Keep it light.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've discussed hovercrafts rather exhaustively this morning, but we're not done yet, Frank.
Well, to be honest, I've got a lot of catching up to. I haven't talked about them for 20 years.
This is true.
Here we are.
You may recall Jane contacted the show earlier.
I do.
To suggest that hovercrafts were invented and first built, as she described it, here on the Isle of Wight. So we're quite proud of it.
Well, who wouldn't be?
Well, Brian and Tracy.
Okay.
Because Brian and Tracy say, good morning, lovely people.
Say they were built on Brian and Tracy Island.
The hovercraft was not invented in Isle of Wight.
Oh.
So Christopher Cockerell patented the first hovercraft in 1955 in Alton, Norfolk. First flight in commercial use was July 1959, crossing the English Channel in 2 hours with the inventor on board. Just wanted to set the record straight.
They said to him after that, how did it go? And he said, pardon? Well, that's... I'm glad... In our beginnings is our beginning. So at the end of the hour, we've got to the very root of the hovercraft and how it all began.
Where else would you get an hour on hovercrafts?
I don't know. Let's ask Neil Chapman, the MD of Hover, about...
Well, he's got in touch again, Neil Chapman.
Has he?
Yeah.
Needy.
He said someone is using my email address. I didn't make that invention. Well, he isn't the first person to use that this week.
He says, thanks for the mention. You're all invited.
Oh, brilliant.
There you go.
I love it. What I'd like is if we can get a yellow Soester, you know those big yellow things that sailors wear, those waterproof coats? If we can get one of those that operates a bit like a tandem, so it's one Soester with 3 head holes in it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And can I be in the middle?
Yeah, but... okay. And...
Frank had his eye on the middle, Emily. Really
I can tell that by the tone of his voice.
Look, we don't have to decide now. I'll tell you something. You won't be able to wear your trilby in that wind. I'm warning you.
Maybe we could do the show from our hovercraft.
We could do.
I'm doing it on a Segway on the hovercraft.
Get away with it on Kerrang.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Gareth Richards. You can text the show on 81215. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website. What is it?
Well, can I just say, I am Gareth Richards. You were very right when you said that just now, but Emily, off air, just called me Alan.
Well, you know.
That was
Who
terrible.
is this Alan you keep going on
I
about?
think he invented the hovercraft.
Oh.
I'm really sorry about that, Gareth.
Sir Alan Cockerell.
I promise it was a mistake. It will never happen again.
Any news? Any news on the ripped jeans?
You want to know? Let's say
How badly
I
ripped?
describe it as deepening like a coastal shelf.
Oh dear.
Wow.
Is it? I saw a woman the other day who'd got ripped jeans, but not on the knee, but on what I would call the buttocks.
Yeah.
And you could see, like, clearly pink pants through.
Oh, that was
Do
bad.
do 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 do. And
Pink pants through.
and I thought it's quite.
Quite what?
Well, I've got
Full
this.
on. But we don't do it on purpose sometimes.
Oh, come on! This was deliberately on purpose.
This wasn't. I'm going to need a car home.
I mean, I've been out in Calvin. I wear those Calvin Classics sometimes, which is like the market version of proper Calvin Klein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were on the show when I was saying that what's happening with mine is that the elastication on the band, Gareth, is separating from the rest of the garment.
Yes, I
Been
do. I remember
liberated.
that.
They
Yeah.
haven't been on speaking terms for some years.
So she's sort of.
I had
it's the
6
flip
months of
side.
therapy.
Yes, but it's the flip side of that. So I've got a smart suit on with these decaying pants on underneath. She's got, her best pants on because she knows everyone can see them through her jeans.
Okay.
So it's all right. It's fashion, and I know you love that.
Oh, I love a bit of fashion, me.
What worries me about when they've got the ripped jeans in their knees is that
Don't say they, because I'm now part of this.
no, but on the knees,
It's not on your knees,
don't their knees get cold when they're saying their prayers?
People don't pray.
Oh, no.
What? Anyway, carry on. You were saying. Where were we?
I may have called you Alan by mistake, and I felt guilty,
Yeah.
but not as guilty as people who signed up to the Ashley Maddison website. This is my favourite story of the week. Have you heard about this?
Yes.
The Cheaters website.
For those of you who don't know, there is a website, incredibly, that invites people to have affairs.
Yeah, the strapline is life is short, have an affair. I don't think that's very good, that.
No, I don't, because if my name was amongst those listed, I don't think my life would be extended. I think it would have been foreshortened this week, in fact.
Why do they call it Ashley Maddison? That's like one of those women in the
You
Daily
remember
Mail.
Ashley Maddison, don't you?
No.
She was, I think she was in the West End version of Grease, American.
How was she?
No, I'm making it up. There was Holly Madison, was the head of the
yeah.
girls from the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, well, is it so that if it turns up on your credit card bill, it just... Well, that doesn't work because it's just the name of a woman who's not your
Yes,
wife.
You don't want that.
That seems bad.
You want it to be Bill the Bakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
that's
a
what
woman.
That's what they should have called it, Bill the Bakers. Everything would have been fine. So so they've all. How many people have been exposed? Do we know?
Well,
a lot.
I don't know how many have been exposed, but it says 37 million members worldwide.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yes. And
Although they reckon that 90 to 95% of the users were actually male.
I thought you were going to say work for Absolute Radio.
I know.
Because they were using work.
The whole topic a bit edgier.
They were using the work email. This was the problem. This is why they've been exposed.
is a
People in the Senate, all sorts.
That is a mistake. Don't use your work email. I mean, not that I have ever considered anything like
thanks
this.
for that.
but
A cheater's guide.
If I was going to
Can I ask you a
consider...
question before you say this? What is a work email?
What is...
You've probably got an
also-
Absolute Radio on, Frank.
I haven't.
Without even realising, you will have.
Can I ask what is work? I have no idea.
Says,
But,
says the Trilby man. Okay. Yes, what were you going to ask?
I was going to say, don't use your work email. Don't sign up to a website for cheating on. You're basically putting your name on a list of people who would like to cheat. And they paid for it.
I know.
So there was a money trail.
Yes, there's something...
And if we've learned anything from All the President's Men and the Watergate scandal, where they were told to follow...
I honestly say I haven't.
I like Frank, because of the Trilby, he's gone a bit... he's got a bit money trail.
Yeah, he's hot on the case here.
The shadowy man in the car park said, "Follow the money."
Yeah.
And that's what, there's always a trail of money.
That happened to me when I arrived. I just ignored him.
Frank Skinner, Emily Dean, Gareth Richards. The Frank Skinner Podcast from Absolute Radio.
What else?
Well, we were talking about Ashley Maddison, the Affair.
Oh, yes.
Website. And I enjoyed one anonymous user who was quoted as saying, "I'm a bit annoyed, to be honest. I set it up with the intention of using it, but I was unable to access it due to work restrictions."
Oh, no.
There's been some fantastic... It's become a fabulous resource centre for people who are caught having an affair, because there's all sorts of...
Yeah.
it's just a whim. We were going through a bad patch. They're all there.
Yeah.
Handy.
Also,
Not
why
for
don't
me.
these people just use the old-fashioned methods of cheating and just make a pass at the secretary?
Well, I tell you
It's so
what...
much easier. Everyone knows where they stand. Bring back the milkman.
I'm not...
Oh, you're at it.
yeah, that must have cut a lot of it down, I would have thought, because you don't get the milkman. I know they still exist, but they're not as widespread as they were. And neither are the housewives. I'd have thought that the excitement of an affair is the initial sort of moment when you think, "Oh, did she give me a bit of an extra long smile?" and all that, that stuff at work and all that. And when
Not in this room.
no, well, I don't
Hold
know.
your high horses.
Since the jeans have ripped, anything's possible. But all that stuff, and it's all very tense, and you think, "Oh God, I'm gonna say something, and it could all go wrong." Whereas this now, they haven't got to the chase; they've got past the chase.
Yeah.
And suddenly you're in an affair, ping, like that. And obviously, once you're in the affair, it's interesting for about a month, and then it becomes as dull as the relationship you're trying to escape from.
But worse than dull,
everybody knows that.
Worse than dull, it becomes a bit naff. Because you have to say naff things.
Well, the thing is,
and I think affairs at work are the worst, because they'll email each other and go, "Oh, wouldn't you like to know? I'd like to have some of your chocolate biscuits." Oh,
there is
you're filthy.
something phenomenally 70s about having an affair.
So naff.
You do feel that a woman you're having an affair with should be wearing a negligee. It is, though.
I'll meet you in the photocopier room.
No, but it's the tragedy of the modern world. We're all so busy nowadays. Lots of these people had good paid jobs. You've got the wife, you've got the kids.
Yeah.
How do you meet anyone nowadays?
Well, it's what Frank calls Pac-Man syndrome. You just have to go for what's right in front of your face.
Yes, it is true. I can't do it. I feel guilty about wearing trainer socks because they are socks posing as no socks. I can't go in for the affair thing. It would just
You're not
drive
on
me.
a fair type, Frank.
Well, as you say, there is something. It's a bit like being pierced. I mean, being pierced for the youth is right, but you know these sort of swinger couples. They all like live in Bovis homes and.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's any of you listening, God bless you all.
Or anyone having an affair listening.
No, the whole swinging thing. It just.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's quite as exciting as it seems.
No.
But what do I know?
Yeah, we could be wrong. Squares.
Yeah, you're right. Now I feel slightly square. And you know what? I feel slightly guilty that I've offended any swingers who are listening. That's why I can't have an affair. If I get guilty about stuff like that. At home saying, will it? Shaking their heads, you can hear the old piercings jingling together. There's lightning storms coming up on Sunday, by the way, if there are any heavily pierced people listening.
Keep inside.
I think you have to put yourself in a drawer. That's what we used to do with the cutlery when I was a kid. Little tip.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've just had a bit of cake because it's Gareth's birthday. It tastes like brie. What's going on with that? Taste that brie.
I wasn't getting brie.
It's meant to be chocolate cake. Frank, taste the icing.
It's gluten-free, apparently. If
No wonder
it tastes like brie, it must be off.
Oh, wait, it's gluten brie.
God.
That's a mistake you've made.
Oh, we've told you not to buy gluten brie cake.
I think I met Penelope Gluten Brie at a party recently to launch the Tatler.
Have you tasted it? It's one of the most disgusting things I've ever had.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's lovely. Happy birthday for
Happy
Tuesday.
birthday. I'm sorry to harsh everyone's mellow even further, but I went
to do what?
Harsh everyone's mellow.
See, this isn't. I love it when she goes street. So that's if you sort of. How do you harsh someone's mellow? You sort of cause a bit of a
very
stir.
regularly. I do it about 100 times a day to people. Yeah, it just
Harsh
means
my mellow.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm harshing your mellow because I'm going to tell you about a funeral I went to this week.
Are you ever marshing my mellow?
No.
No, you went to a funeral. Okay.
Circle
Absolute
of Life.
Radio, ladies and gentlemen. Wasn't the big one?
I beg your pardon. What do you mean?
The funeral of the week.
No, I didn't go to that
Because
one.
you get invited to all the big showbiz things. Okay.
I do. Well, are you suggesting that somehow I failed not getting an invitation to that funeral?
Anyway.
No, it was a lovely service because actually he'd had a good innings. He was 90.
Fair enough.
So that's okay.
Nervous 90s, as they call them in cricket.
Yes. It was actually a very uplifting affair and a celebration. He was a director, Frank.
Okay.
He directed the 70s series I, Claudius.
Did he? Wow.
Yes.
It's a good one.
That's a really good one.
No, he's very distinguished. There was some very distinguished type speaking at the funeral.
Was there the reception after a toga party?
John Alderton was there.
Oh,
Lovely.
Doffy.
He was lovely.
Behave.
Tim Pigott-Smith.
Wow.
Lovely. A letter read out from Derek Jacobi.
Fantastic.
I mean, it was the best
Who read it?
celebration. Well, John Alderton was brilliant.
Isn't that a pip?
Well, John Alderton got up and he said a brilliant thing. He said, "Am I batting first? Must speak to my agent about this."
Brilliant.
Which I loved. I absolutely loved it. And then Derek Jacobi's letter was read out by another
Yes.
actor. He couldn't be there, darling. He was working. But he did say...
But I bet there was notes on how to read it.
No, he said a brilliant thing. He said, "I'll always remember on the first day of Claudius." Called it Claudius.
I'd have called it I haven't got time to call it Claudius.
But it was lovely because it was very actorly and there were lots of great
It
anecdotes.
sounds brilliant.
I almost wish I could have got you a ticket, Frank, but I didn't
would
have
have
a
liked
plus
to have
one,
gone
sorry.
to that. I mean, Claudius.
But there was a slight issue. I
You
don't
didn't
know.
get a plus one.
No, sorry about that.
That's how big a deal it was.
Oh, it was. It was packed. There wasn't a free seat there. It was full house. But when I was sitting there, I sort of came in and I found a little area next to some elderly actors, obviously, and I was slightly behind a pillar. And some latecomers, but I could still see a bit because obviously it's a big performance. You know, I wanted to see all these people.
Yeah, you had
speaking.
restricted view
Yeah, I had
seats.
restricted view, diabolical seats. Then some latecomers came in and they stood in front of me, and because I was excited about hearing these people speak, I couldn't help but I went, oh. You know, like you do at a concert when someone's done. And the man next to me sort of looked at me a bit aghast. And I had to pretend it was emotion. I went, oh. I turned the sigh into irritation. I managed to turn it around. I turned it into just an expression of, sadness.
That's good.
But then, what do you do when the casket... I don't want to get too technical here.
No.
But obviously... But there's a queue to go up.
I'll say if there's any dead people listening. Absolute Radio does not approve of... what doesn't it approve of in the context of mortality?
I'm not sure.
But can I ask you both a question?
Mm.
The queue was really long, and I had to
Right.
get back to work
The queue for...
to go up to the casket.
Oh, OK. Oh, we don't do that in the Catholic Church.
Well, there's a lot of elderly people there, and they were taking their time.
OK, fine enough.
So I queue jumped.
You bodged in?
Yes, I did.
Wow.
Is that bad?
No, I suppose that it's a funeral. People are so upset they behave in all sorts of ways. That's what you must say when the email arrives.
Well, I did something worse.
Uh-oh.
Or when you go up
Is this
there...
next sentence going to have the word souvenir in it? Oh dear. And ear. Go on.
You go up to tap the casket. That's the
Okay.
point of it, which is a nice thing to do. It's a respectful thing, and they say, please go up and pay
I'm
your
not
respects.
familiar with that. at
Well,
all.
everyone's watching you. So there's
Okay.
especially when you queue jump, they're watching you. So there's a certain amount of
This man
pressure.
invented
You tap it.
he invented the knock joke. Did you not mention that?
So I didn't
Is
know
it
what
to give them a final chance to knock back?
Excuse me, how dare you? You're now being disrespectful.
Oh, no.
Well.
No, you're not. I was being disrespectful because you know what I did? I didn't know what to do, so I went to tap it, and then I felt that was inadequate, so I did a sort of salute, like to Lisa from X Factor. I did a little salute.
Oh, what? The female boss? Oh, dear. That's it, you're not coming to mine.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Emily. Emily, we've got an email for you. That's what I was going to say.
They are very similar words.
Yeah,
Imagine if I'd have been called email by mistake.
Email-y.
Yeah, it's email Dean.
I'm sure this won't come back to haunt us picking this name.
It's so unusual. There's nothing like it.
Do you want the email corner jingle? Or?
Is there? Oh, yeah.
Is there one?
Is there one?
Get your lips around this baby.
Okay.
Maybe we should do the original one from Gareth's tenure on the show.
Yes, that's a lovely idea.
Email corner.
I mean, I think I would have remembered that. I don't think that was even around back then.
Was it not? Okay.
Dear Emily, I thought I would let you know how you helped me out in a recent meeting at work. During a fairly dull heads of department meeting, we were working our way through the agenda, as you do in a meeting. Obviously, I was daydreaming away, thinking of my black tour t-shirt and Converse, when all of a sudden we arrived at agenda item 7, staff conference invites. All of a sudden, I found myself saying to the meeting, I don't mean to be picky, but shouldn't this be staff conference invitations? Obviously, nobody said anything, so I followed this up with the immortal line, invite is an American corruption.
Excellent work.
Much like Watergate. As I mentioned earlier, that was an American corruption.
It was.
Much like Robin Thicke.
I was so proud.
Do you rob to the Robin Thicke and give in to the intelligent? Was that his system? Sorry,
no,
What's
I
happened
don't
to
think he
Thicke?
had
It's
anything
all
to
gone
do
wrong,
with the
Frank.
intelligent. It went wrong.
What,
Gone
Robin
wrong for
Thicke?
Thicke. Yeah, he's lost his money. He's lost everything. His hair will be going next.
Thick and thin. I was so proud and hope you are too. A colleague then asked, how could you possibly know that? To which I replied, I just do. Thus confirming my status at work as a bit of a git, which I think Frank will approve of. Insert praise here. Love to all, Ben.
Oh, wow, great work, Ben. I approve
say
of that
git?
thoroughly.
I like, how could you possibly know that? As if it's beyond the realms of... that reminds me of, there was a Derek Acora special on... I must have told you this before. There's a Derek Acora special on Dick Turpin.
Oh.
And it was over 2 nights.
Sky Class
Do you
never
remember
to
it?
be deleted.
And it was all about, there was a woman called Jane Millington was his girlfriend, and then there was this gamekeeper called Bathurst or something, and then he had a mate with him, and Acora is in this field, and he goes into the hold on, no, I'm getting Dick, it's called Dick, and he's saying, he said it was Mary Millington, who was a 70s porn actress, but I suppose she was just wobbling around in Derek's mind. But anyway, he named the gamekeeper, and he said, there's a guy called don't shoot Bathurst, there's somebody called Martin. I don't know if they were called Martin then. Called Martin saying, don't shoot Bathurst. And it went back to this large woman in the crowd, and they said, what did you make of that? And she said, well, if ever you needed evidence that this is genuine, that was it. He said he named 4 people there. Now, the human brain cannot retain that much information. I thought, what? What are you talking about? And that's what this sounds a bit like. How do you know that? Of course, I should point out that Sam writes all Derek Acora stuff.
Yeah.
His spirit guide.
His spirit guide,
Sam's
yeah.
a spirit guide.
Yeah.
It was a helpfully short name so that it fits in his brain. Along
Is
with
Sam
all
a
the
bit
other
like
names.
our role on this show?
I imagine he's a bit like... Who's the guy that used to write for Robbie Williams?
Guy Chambers.
Guy
I imagine he's Derek Cora's Guy Chambers.
Isn't he 10:24?
When Sam goes.
Because Wilkesie's 10:23. Guy Chambers 10:24. I don't know. What would he do? GC?
5'3"?
5'3"?
Maybe.
Not as good as 10:23.
That was a shot in the dark. If I'm wrong, don't...
7'3".
Okay.
Okay.
If you didn't listen to last week's show, you're right, this is nonsense.
Frank, Emily and Gareth. Alan's in Edinburgh. The Frank Skinner Podcast from Absolute Radio.
So this week we have seen into the world of Gareth Bale, who is a footballer.
Yeah, that's correct. Well done.
Yeah.
I know that because was there a period of time, is there another footballer called Micah Richards?
Yes.
And did they play against each other or on the same team or something? Because for a while, whenever I searched for myself on Twitter, Gareth Richards, it came up with Gareth Bale and Micah Richards.
Okay. Isn't it interesting the way we find things out in life?
Yeah. By self-googling.
Yes. Yes, he was. He used to play in London, and now he's in Madrid.
Gone abroad.
Very expensive he was.
Oh God, he was expensive.
He was a price.
And he's a fan of the Irish singer Brian McFadden, and he's tweeted about it.
Now this is
very specialist interest.
I would put Brian McFadden, God bless him, in the same category as the Hovercraft. I thought that was something, that was very, very popular, quite loud, and has now gone.
No, still going.
Frank, in fairness,
he'll take you to the Isle of Wight if you want for 50 quid.
He'll pay you.
Yeah.
To be
I wonder if his managing director's going to phone up and say, "Come and see me concert."
We'll be invited.
Yeah,
it's a nice chap.
It's not even. I know, but it's not even Westlife. It's like saying I'm a huge fan of Mark Owen's music.
Mark Owen.
Yeah.
Mark Owen's music.
Yes.
I thought you did that thing. When people pluralise surnames.
No.
Like my mum always says, it's Cliff Richards.
Yeah.
Because she wants him to be a family member.
No, I'm not like your mum.
That's all we need.
Can I say his name was originally... Oh, no, it wasn't Cliff Richards. He chose Cliff Richard. He was called Harry Webb originally.
Yeah.
But he chose Cliff Richard just so people would say, "Oh, is that Richards?" And he'd say, "No, Richard." Just so he'd say it twice to stick in their memory, apparently.
Oh, interesting.
I'll be doing that.
That's how you...
neurolinguistic programming.
That's what people did before the internet.
What about Gareth? After in this tweet,
yes.
Do you recall exactly what he said?
No, please remind me.
He tweeted, Gareth Bale, enjoying a chilled out Sunday, listening to the new Brian McFadden song, #tune, #call on Mr. Brother. Now, #tune was ill-advised.
Call on Mr. Brother?
No, yes.
Do you think that's the name of the song?
No, he's got that wrong because, ladies and gentlemen, I have printed out... I listened to the song.
Yeah.
What's it like?
McFadden song. It's not good.
No.
It's
in your opinion?
In my opinion.
No. Okay.
How does it go? And and also, it's not called Call on Mr. Brother, it's called Call on Me Brother.
Oh, it said Call on Mr.
Yeah, he's not even spelt it right.
Frank, could you first do your impression of how you believe Call on Mr. Brother goes?
Call on Me Brother.
Okay.
You could do Mr. Brother if you want.
When you're feeling down and blue, call me brother, I'm there for you.
Oh, that's rather
Bit like
nice.
that.
I quite like that.
Bit like that.
That was much, much better
Oh, thank you very
than
much.
it actually is. There's some insights.
Wherever you are, brother. Who is this? Who is this? Oh yes, I did ask you to call on me. Sorry.
Is it a sort of stools chair, as I believe they call it?
What?
When they sit on the stool.
Oh, okay.
You know.
It's not too ballady, actually.
No.
It's more, when Westlife did their ill-advised rock, sort of slightly rockier.
Did they?
Frank, you're going to have to revise it. What does that?
Slightly,
how does that change
very
things
slightly
for you, Frank?
rockier.
Well, it's not a ballad.
you
Frank
doing
said it was
this?
a ballad.
You want that rockier?
So it's not. It's rockier. is it?
Slightly rockier.
What's it called? Call on me, brother.
Call on me, brother.
Okay. You gotta call on me, brother, anytime at all, and I'm always there for you. Why don't you call on me, brother, any old time? That's what you need to do. Be a bit like that, I think.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What I particularly liked about Call on Me, Brother was that the suggestion that Gareth Bale was spending his entire day just listening to this. His whole day was dedicated to listening.
Well, quite
to
a big
McFadden.
thing. Quite a big thing for footballers is downtime, because they get an enormous amount of it, where they're actually instructed, not to do.
I thought that was your
loads of
Birmingham accent trying to say Downton.
Downtime Abbey would be.
Yeah.
That'd be a great place for a sort of chill out spot.
Yeah.
Would be good.
So they're asked to sort of basically recharge a bit. So I suppose you do have to sit around.
Well, I have looked at the lyrics for the song "Call on Me, Brother," and I could look at them for a whole day, because there are some. First, you get an insight into the world of Brian McFadden.
Was it written by BM?
I believe. I mean, I assume so.
Yeah.
The chorus goes, "Call on me, brother, I'll be there. Yes, when you're under, I'll be there.
Okay.
I ain't got no money, ain't got no car."
Oh, he's lost me at ain't. I'm phobic about people that say
he
ain't.
said the ain't.
And
Just ain't going to happen.
Oh, Frank, makes me sick when people say that.
but call on my name and I won't be far. Call on me, brother, I'll be there.
I think this is a bit harsh.
What?
Well, I'm sure there are many lyrics.
You think it's just reading lyrics out?
I think I think one could read out the lyrics of many great songs and think that's a bit thing. It's about the whole composition.
Trust me, I'm saving you by not doing the tune as well.
Okay. When I was a youth, and I used to read the Albion News, which was like the football programme for the club I support. They always used to have a questionnaire in there, and they'd ask a player each week stuff like, "What do you like to listen to?" And they always said Ben E. King, and I never actually found out who that was. Any offers?
Yeah, Stand By Me, wasn't it? Oh no, was that someone else?
Was that Ben E. King?
Was that Cookie? I don't know.
Ben E. King.
See?
No idea.
But everyone who played for West Bromwich Albion listened to Ben E. King. How do you explain that?
Well, we can't.
Can't say.
It's the answer. It's the very, very simple answer to that question.
Okay, and it was always a biggest influence on life, father, and their favourite food, steak.
Oh yeah.
What would you be if
What
you
do they drink?
What about this dates it.
Oh yeah.
What would you be if you weren't a footballer? Always electrician.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I am Frank Skinner, and I am in the company of Emily Dean and Gareth Richards. We're on a show which can be contacted by text on 81215. It can also be followed on Twitter by @FrankOnTheRadio. The show can be emailed via the Absolute Radio website.
What's happened?
Just want to be clear.
Thorough. We've had an email from Greg who says, hi guys, I thought I would just say I went to see the play War of the Worlds last year in Birmingham.
The chances of anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1, they said. Oh.
That's quite a late review. War of the Worlds.
It's a late audition.
Yeah.
It was amazing, and guest singer was Brian McFadden.
Okay.
Alongside Jason Donovan, Brian Fadden was amazing, well worth the £2 entry fee. Love your programme.
£2?
Yeah, that seems reasonable.
£2 entry fee?
That's not going to pay everyone's wages.
It's a bit weird.
Also,
held at a church fete.
Also, entry fee. Aren't they traditionally called tickets?
Well, not at £2. You wouldn't bother to print it off. It's not worth killing a tree for. What is worth killing a tree for? That's the next texting. Well, yeah, I remember McFadden could sing. There's no question about that.
And his vocals were excellent on the track. I didn't mean to be too down on Brian.
No, okay.
Oh.
By his new single, Call me brother, on me, call me on... Well, I can't remember what it's called. But,
Hashtag call me brother.
Gareth Bale found it inspirational.
But I find that the chances of anyone coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1, they said. I find that is a track, the sort of track I might play before I went on stage, for example. 'Cause it's very... It's very sort of uplifting.
Yeah.
And it's got Mars in it and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, my inspirational track is Stronger by Kanye West.
You are having a laugh.
No, I love it.
Do you know that's one of the most... I think that's the most
don't
popular...
kill me.
Oh, wow.
Lonely made me stronger.
Down to the accent.
Something about hurry up now.
Gareth, down to the accent.
Okay.
I thought it was
back to my hip hop roots.
That's no, that's one of the most popular running songs.
Oh, really?
Stronger. Yeah.
Well, he's an inspirational figure, Kanye West, because he doesn't lack self-confidence.
In what way?
I get my whole vibe from Jesus.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus, sorry, I'm
Kanye West.
confused. Yeah, no, I like
I like
Kanye West.
On a good day, I can.
I like to play a bit of Depeche Mode, Personal Jesus, when I'm driving.
Oh, yeah.
Because I feel a bit seersuckers. You know that feeling when you're driving and you get a bit seersuckers?
Not seersuckers, no.
No. Do you know what I mean? A bit King of the Road, Frank.
Well, obviously, sometimes I'll just stand naked in front of the mirror playing Look for the Hero Inside Yourself.
And do you see
Well,
it?
it's actually Reach for the Hero, which is worse.
And then I see your true colours shining through. I've done so much singing this morning. I've had an offer come in from the Hovercrafts Society to sing their official anthem, You Are the Wind Beneath My Skirt.
Frank, we've had an email in about Hovercrafts, actually.
Oh, yes.
This is from
Thank
Sam.
God for that. I thought an hour just didn't seem sufficient to cover them.
Sam says, "Hi guys, my wife Verity doesn't believe Hovercrafts exist. She is convinced that they are a purely fictional sci-fi creation that has made it into popular culture.
The chances of anything hovering on the sea are 1,000,000 to 1, they say."
A bit like vampires.
She really believes this.
He says, no amount of YouTube videos, Google searches, MDs from Hover Travel, not even your radio show can convince her otherwise. After hearing the MD from Hover Travel, I quote, "He's making it up." No helping some people. This is from Sam in Bracknell.
This is a man trying to get a free ride on the Hovercraft, surely.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I hope that's not true, because to live without the Hovercraft would be impossible to do.
Hovercraft deniers we've got now.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a real thing.
Can you believe that? It's actually illegal in Norfolk.
Frank Skinner, Emily Dean, Gareth Richards. The Frank Skinner Podcast from Absolute Radio.
Now, I'll tell you what, when I was on my 40th birthday,
Yeah.
I did something I almost never do. I went and drove my car. I went for a drive. You know, you hear people say I went for a drive, but I never ever do that. I always drive somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that night, on my 40th birthday, when it became midnight, so I became 40, I went for a drive. I wasn't going anywhere, I just drove around. And I played, this I won't play the whole thing, but this was what I listened to over and over.
Oh, I should have been in the car with you. That must be nice.
It's a Quincy Jones Orchestra playing the theme from Ironside. Do you remember?
Of course I do.
Do you remember Ironside? With Raymond Burr.
Yeah.
Hold on, we've been cut off. Raymond Burr. Don't know what happened then. Yeah, so that was. I just played that over and over.
Just
and
so
you know
anyone under the age of 40 listening, there used to be a thing called brrrr when the phone rang.
Yes.
No,
when it's cut off.
When it cut off.
Right, thank you.
Well, we haven't explained Ironside. Ironside was
Ironside.
in the opening credits to Ironside, the opening titles. You'd see him get shot. He was a cop and he got shot,
He's a cop who got shot.
and he ended up in a wheelchair.
Oh.
So he's like the wheelchair copper.
Do you like that Gareth's feeling the need to comment sympathetically as if it happened to you? Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a shame.
But I've noticed...
Was he called Ironside before he got
No.
shot?
Well, it was his actual name, but I think the inclination,
handy.
the idea was that he was... Yes. Anyway, I find with my inspirational music like that, it's nearly always instrumentals.
Oh, that's interesting, Frank.
Yeah, so it's like the shadows. I remember thinking when I was about 13, you know, when you do that with your mouth, it's every bit as good as real guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Could you have a band
Yeah.
where you didn't actually play, you just went... Would that be all right?
You would like a programme called Glee.
I've seen
They
Glee.
do what they do.
Called Glee.
They
I
do
have
all
seen
the
Glee.
noise with their mouths,
Yeah.
and it's all with their mouths.
Yeah, but they don't tend
Does
to
it with
go...
all their mouths?
They don't go...
Yeah.
Ding.
All of it.
No.
Frank, were you a Telstar fan?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought you would be. Oh,
Yes,
my
exactly, yeah.
God.
But it's all... I think the problem is, I've always been a person who... say if I got dumped in my youth, I would
Yeah.
have to sit and listen to lots of sad songs. That was
Oh,
my
that just
thing.
makes you feel worse, though, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And but there'd always be bits in the songs that didn't quite fit with the. So I used to.
How did you get through that?
I used to change the lyrics a bit. So if it was something like, that night at the drive-in, it would be like, I'd take a real incident from our relationship. That thing about the dry cleaning.
No,
And
you'd say that night at the ball ring.
Yeah, and I would put in real things that had happened to
would
patch up
you?
any bits that didn't quite fit. Yeah, because obviously it took away some of the pain if
Of course it did.
if it didn't fit.
Starts going on about Memphis.
So
You're
I
in
used-
Smethwick. How
Yes.
can you relate to that?
Well, exactly.
Walking in Smithwick.
I don't need that. So I was very inclined to wallow. Roy Orbison songs.
Yeah.
Pretty woman walking down Broad Street.
I drove for some of the night to get to you.
Or nowadays it would be I was driven all night.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This week, Frank and Emily, it was my birthday.
Hold on, let's see if I can find a suitable
I forgot,
jingle.
Frank. How embarrassing.
jingle.
Did you text
Here we go.
him?
What do you think? All right.
Mr. Grimshaw!
What? Coming for me? No, it's too soon. It's too soon. Yes, it was my birthday, and before I went to bed... So time to turn the page.
Don't keep saying it.
The night before I went to sleep, so on my... It's not really your birthday until you've been to sleep, is it?
Well, that's not how it worked with when I was
That's a
driving
strange
around.
Bon Jovi song.
When I was driving around with Quincy Jones,
What?
I hadn't. When I was driving around with the Quincy Jones Ironside theme,
Oh, yeah.
I hadn't. When it became midnight, that's when I set off in my car.
All right.
I went driving in my car with the Quincy Jones Orchestra. So you have to add the bits in to make it real. Okay,
I know,
so
I know.
you went.
And then there'd be a reference to a bra in the next bit. I didn't like
yeah,
it.
there might be a reference to a bra. We'll
Yeah.
see how it goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Gareth, over to you.
I had the most incredible discovery where I found out that my favourite comedian is endorsing my favourite product.
Which is what?
How about that? Well, my favourite comedian, can you guess that apart from you, Frank?
Oh yes, yes, yes.
Well, he's got to say that.
Yes.
Do you know who's my favourite comedian at the moment? Do you remember from on
Is
tour me
it,
going on and on about him?
Is it Norm Macdonald?
Yes!
Yes,
Very
he's
good.
a very fine
Very
comedian.
good Canadian comedian, and he is the new face of the Colonel for a particular brand of fried chicken. Can we
Is
say brands?
he?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's the new, and it's perfect because it's my favourite comedian and my favourite
Yes.
bad food to eat.
Yes, I know what you mean. When we say bad, we mean, guilty pleasure.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, they might be advertising on
Oh.
here.
Oh, right.
I shouldn't,
Oh,
but I will.
It's delicious. We will.
Oh, I'll have another piece. Oh, I must say, it is good.
I'll tell you what, diet starts tomorrow.
Nice and greasy for the whole family.
Moment on the lips, lifetime on the hip. Oh, we've spoilt it now. Sorry, everyone.
But we will anyway.
Oh, I'm a bit sad to hear that, though. I don't like comedians doing adverts. Worries me.
Oh, really?
Oh, Frank hates that. Don't you, Frank? Frank says comedy's about truth.
Isn't it our job to point the finger at all things commercial? Not radio, obviously, which
I
is brilliant.
agree with you.
Not lick the finger.
No, exactly.
Perhaps.
I only lick my fingers when I'm reading.
I did like that. So my main birthday treat.
Also, the fact that he's called Norm MacDonald, isn't there a slight problem with this fast food
that is
allegiance?
Could be a.
Oh yeah.
Why didn't they ask Jennifer Sanders to do it?
Saunders.
Anyway,
or
Stephen
Dawn French
Fry.
could do the fries.
Stephen Fried.
We could go on like
That's
this
good.
all night.
Yeah, we could.
Fries.
Let's do it. The Cockerel could have done it.
Yeah, that would be.
Okay.
Come on.
But for my main treat, I went to a water park with my son Ethan to Splashdown in Poole.
Oh, it's on Splashdown.
Okay, Splashdown.
Yeah, and it was both. It was lots of flumes, not log flumes that you actually go down with your own body.
Yeah.
I've been on a flume.
Oh, you just go down on your own. Oh, okay.
Or with some with rings. You go big rubber rings and you sit on them and then either
50
go down.
Shades of Grey.
It's all terrifying to me because I'm slightly scared of water. But anyway, it sounds lovely.
Well, and it was lovely, but it was most at first it was. I thought, oh no, this is going to be rubbish, because what you forget about flumes is that most of the time, with the really quick ones, you spend standing in an industrial stairwell with your swimming trunks on.
Do you?
Do you have to wear swimming trunks?
Yes, you have to wear all shorts. So I was
Can I
wearing
ask you a question?
shorts.
Did everyone else have swimming trunks? Because from what I remember, most people are clothed with a mac on. They haven't got swimming trunks.
No, not on a This is not a flume where
Emily
you sit
doesn't
on
know
a
what
log.
it is. Emily doesn't know what it is.
Emily doesn't know what it is, everyone. Emily doesn't know what it is. No, I know.
I was worried about this, Frank, because I thought Emily might not know what it is.
It's not
What
like.
is it?
It's not like remember the famous Princess Diana with the boys on that log.
Oh,
thing?
yeah.
It's
It's
not
not
that.
that. Oh, okay.
It's, do you know?
No,
it's,
it's not
it's
a
credit,
log
it's
flume.
credit card advert where a man goes through the offices sitting in his pants.
Do they have them in Paris?
No.
I see. So it's like a slide in a swimming pool.
Yes,
It's a watery
yes.
slide.
Okay, all right.
A watery slide, but there's lots of them all in one place. And working class stroke lower middle class people go there, take all their clothes off, put on swimming trunks, and then and it was. At first I thought it was going to be rubbish because it was standing in a stairwell staring at the back of a big moly man.
That sounds all right.
And
Sounds like the sky at night. Okay. But well, let's hold it. Let's make it bot ... and let's play some
that's
music.
what he looked like.
That's all you remember about him. Ay, ay, ay.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So when we left Gareth, he was at Splashdown, standing at the top of some industrial stairs.
Yes.
Behind the moly man.
Yeah.
Some of the stairs, I mean, it wasn't a sunny day. On a sunny day it would have been better, but there was one place that was outside. You had to go outside into like a tower. You had to go up.
Quite an elaborate
Can I ask you a
place,
question? You know, you said you were wearing trunks or something. Do you just wander around all day in trunks? Do you not have a robe in between? Like a box?
Is something on your feet, is there?
No.
Okay.
What?
Well, there is after you've been outside
Yeah.
and on the metal slimy staircase.
Anyway,
But
can we say Splashdown is a fun place?
it was
Okay.
amazing. They've all got fun names. So there were some rides that were a bit shorter, like the Dragon's Lair. That's a green slide.
Makes
Like
sense.
a dragon.
Yeah.
Colorado Coaster, Black Thunder, but they were quite short and they were over quite quickly.
Okay.
But then there was one where you go down in a big ring that was a lot of fun called I think it was called the Mississippi Drifter.
Okay.
in Poole. They're American-themed place in the Grand Canyon.
Very, very American-themed.
And what made
Did they talk about box sets, everyone there? Oh, have you been watching Frank, It's Your Idea of Hell? Breaking Bad?
Just the water thing.
But what made it really fun,
I think I might be overcome by flumes.
What made it really fun
was that you were there?
No.
Oh, okay.
My son Ethan, he's 6 years old, and he is just learning to swim.
He joined up all the moles. No, okay.
He could see Orion's belt.
Yes.
No, he...
Sounds like you're awkward.
He is just learning to swim, so he can swim a bit, but some of the water was, like, nearly right up to his neck. So it was a bit dicey at times. So I had the fun of going down the flumes that by itself as a grown man might not have been as fun, but I also had to rescue him from drowning at certain points.
Great, hero and fun.
Yeah, so what I found is that is very rewarding. So
at the end of something out of
at the end of the day, I really felt like I'd done a good thing and had a lot of fun, bonding experience with my son, saving his life.
Do you know, I like the sound of Splashdown.
Yeah,
Frank, if I go to Splashdown, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to mix things up a little bit. I'm going to wear one of those, you know, they give you those Macs, those PVC see-through Macs.
Right.
I'm just going to wear that with a bikini underneath.
I'm
then
going
you're
to
doing
wear
the best of both worlds.
I'm going to wear a blotting paper onesie and just spoil it for everyone. Get halfway down the flume and it just will have dried out completely. It's just made me think there could be a place called Hero Lando where you go and you walk along and, like, you know, people step in front of cars and it's all set up so you get to be the hero over and over again. I would go there. That'd be brilliant. If there's anyone listening, which I'm wondering if there is by now, after 90 minutes of hovercraft chat. But I honestly think that would be, you know, this is the age of the strange theme park as we've seen this weekend in Western Supermare. Hero Land. I'm up for it.
Frank, Emily and Gareth. Alan's in Edinburgh. The Frank Skinner Podcast from Absolute Radio.
We've got an email from someone from Ireland. It says, "Morning, guys."
Ooh.
Irish person.
Yeah.
"Morning, guys. In my local in Ireland,
Yeah.
I once told a lovely
so
lady."
much emphasis on the fact that they're Irish.
Don't know.
Okay.
I once told a lovely lady she had her top on inside out.
This isn't a limerick, is it?
What's the young lady?
It was in Limerick.
She had her top on inside out as she was leaving the pub. She then turned into a very scary, ranting lady, telling me exactly what I can do.
Oh dear.
If I'd put my top on inside out, I would hope someone would tell me before heading into a nightclub.
I think this might be from a period where people used to wear their tops inside out deliberately. Do you remember that?
I do, but you know what? I've had this happen to me. I had a girl, I was all dressed up, wearing Stella McCartney, and I'm not going to lie, I look quite good. I know you're not meant to say that as a woman, but I'm going to.
No, that's fine.
It was one night when I'd managed to, you know, get it together. And she turned around, tapped me on the shoulder, and she went, "Your label's sticking out." Now, that can be tricky when someone does that.
Well, do you think that's a bad thing to do?
Well, yeah, like I care. My label says Stella McCartney.
Oh, I see. You'd stuck it out especially.
Excuse me.
It actually
like that's a problem. It's not as, you know.
Yeah, and if someone spills something on with you want them to be able to see the washing instructions.
Yeah, I'm never sure about your top's inside out, your label sticking out, I can see your pants. You know, keep it to
jeans
yourself.
are ripped, your skirt's inflated,
Yeah.
hovercraft's noisy.
Well, I don't know. I'd take it. He was obviously trying to do a good turn. I suppose it coming from a man, it suggests that he was looking at the top a bit too much.
I don't know if it was a man or a lady. I guess Matt Hermes, is that what it is?
Matt Hermes.
It might be Matt Hermes.
Yes.
That might be a man. That sounds like
that's a man.
Or a non-shiny lady called Hermes.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, did you see the article this week, Emily, about job interviews?
Oh, why cut me out of the conversation?
Sorry. Frank.
Well, we're having an employee chat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we don't want the boss in the room.
Did you last have a job interview?
I didn't interview.
We're sparking up an affair in the...
Live on the radio.
Yeah. Sorry, yes, I did see that. Gareth?
Fascinating questions people get asked in interviews nowadays.
But I like the sound of it because I think that, why do you want this job and all those things are so dull. Whereas if you really want to find if someone's got a brain that can suddenly leap up like a young gazelle, you ask them something. I remember when Charlie started work on this show, I said, "What's your brand?" And she just looked at me as if I'd said your top's inside out.
Russell. Katie.
No, but I don't think she ever answered.
All sorts of questions.
Well, no one answers. You ask everyone that.
No, because someone told me.
You do all the time over a lunch. We'll be sitting there saying, so anyway, so then on the Tuesday I thought I was going to go, what's your brand?
Well, I heard
someone... They don't answer, because it's
someone said to me they were asked that in an interview, and I think it's an interesting question. What's your brand?
Sorry, I don't smoke. That's a good answer.
That would have been fine.
Been good.
But
but Frank, it's how you ask these things. In the context of an interview, it's fine. When you're sitting there having brunch, relaxing after a hard day's work, you don't want some Birmingham man shouting, "What's your brand?"
But I didn't shout, and also Charlie was new, and I was trying to, open
make her feel welcome.
The conversation. Yes. Sitting there a bit quiet, the way people do when they're new.
Oh, so someone's sitting there quietly. So what you think is, I'll shout, "What's their brand?"
Yeah.
Anyway, it's getting tense in the room, you guys.
It's not, because Frank's like my brother and I can talk to them like this.
This is an interesting question that sort of fits in with this. One of the questions they ask people to get the cut of people's jib in interviews is, how would you interject in a fight between Batman and Superman?
Frank?
That's very much the vibe I'm getting here.
I'd say, A, stop that. Or I'll reveal your secret identities.
Oh, that's good.
Frank, I love
got an Achilles heel. Or kryptonite.
Or I'd say, come on, you're both orphans.
Yeah.
You find something in common.
Keep it light, Frank.
We've got things in common.
Do you know what I'd say? I say Superman's got this in the bag, love.
Yes.
What does Batman do? Put slide projectors on the sky.
I know, it's a bit...
And he's terrified. He's got a bat phobia. Yeah. Those are his superpowers.
I know, but he has guile. He has tremendous guile.
Oh, is that the butler?
Yeah, that's what you want to do. You want to put your arm around Batman and say, look, I know you're an athletic chap, but honestly...
He's got lasers coming out of his eyes.
He can move the world.
Don't say that, because there's a new movie coming out with Ben Affleck, and it's going to be over in 5 minutes if you guys write it.
What does he do, Frank Batman? He just does the slide projectors,
he doesn't have powers. He doesn't have powers. He doesn't do the slide projector. That's Commissioner Gordon.
Oh, sorry.
He has...
What does he do?
He has skills. He's been down a well with bats in. And he's, in one movie.
Okay.
And one of the other questions, because there are a few, we've had that one. How many traffic lights are there in London?
Wait, I'll go and count. 1, 2...
See, if somebody asked me that...
Okay, Frank, what would you say?
I think I'd say, you know what, I don't pay attention to them most of the time.
Would you?
Yeah. They're red, they're green.
Yeah.
It's like being on the flume. You just take your chance. Now that reminds me, many, many years ago, there was a story knocking around about some guy who went for an interview. This is like a story from the 60s.
Yeah.
And when he went in, the guy said to it, there was 2 guys interviewing, and one of them said, so would you say you're an observant person? And he said, yeah, I think so. It's okay, what was the number plate of the taxi that you came in this morning? And he said, GAD 974A.
Oh.
And and afterwards, the other guy said, this is not a joke, the other guy said, he must have been lying about that. And he said, I know he was lying, but that's what we want. He was straight in there, didn't bat an eyelid. Oh. So I think it's the same theory, isn't it?
I don't want a quick liar working for me.
Don't you?
No. Ashley Maddison's a place for those guys. You can lie straight to your face.
Offered me the job on this radio show, and he said, what music are you into? And I said, we're in a bar. And I said, it's to the waiter, excuse me, could you turn that down, please? It's terrible.
I said to Emily, would you like to come and be the co-presenter on this radio show I'm doing? And she said, oh, that's fantastic, Frank. I'm so glad we never slept together, because we're still speaking. That's
exactly how I feel.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there was that.
We were on tour.
Yeah.
Luckily, Gideon was there for most of it.
Oh, don't.
Anyway, We come now to the end
And
of
it was the
another
best
show.
decision I ever made, Frank.
Yes.
I mean, doing the show, not sleeping.
Yeah, well, they're so intertwined.
It's
I know,
mutual.
that's why I love you.
So, thank you so much for listening. And if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Now, get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.